Hi guys, Ryan here for the London Craftsman. How are you? Today is part 3 of our ultimate workbench build. Today we're going to be talking about the frames and in particular the dog holes and the channels. So stay tuned, watch to the end, and I hope you enjoy. So I'm a man down today. I'm here on a Saturday, which is not usually the case. I usually have a weekend off. But anyway, here's our frames that we got done in part 1 and part 2. Remember, if you haven't watched those, watch them now, before you watch this possibly. And what we have here are 8 frames. Consider thickness, all 76mm thick, apart from this one frame here. And we've just assembled them in a way where they're just made up of layers. So, not going into too much detail on that, we're going to be talking about the dog holes that run up the sides and the channel that runs along the top. So if I bring you through, show you what we have on our SketchUp. And here we go. So this is a model on our SketchUp of what we are trying to achieve. I zoom out and give you a little tour. So it is a 3.6 long bench by 1.6. It's about 800 or so high. It's going to be on wheels. There's one of the wheels. I haven't actually connected it to the SketchUp model. But what we're trying to achieve today are these dog holes along the edges. And I've not used these before myself, but I have seen other people do this on their own benches, and it's basically there. So if I want to machine, or I've got a large sheet material that needs to be on edge, then I can then just put a dowel, a long dowel into these dog holes and rest that sheet material on its side up against my bench. We then have these channels here. I turn it around to then run a clamp in there, because you have certain clamps that run in these channels, and they will clamp this sheet material to the bench as well. So it's a little system that helps you machine large sheets of material, for example, and machine edges basically, rather than struggling and clamping your piece to the bench. So anyway, this is the job we've got in hand. We've got 8 frames, if you can see underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. These are the other way around, and 8. Right, so what we need to do is take our measurements. These have all been planned by me over time. I simply just take my tape measure tool, and before I start machining, I can then just take my measurements with my tape measure tool and transfer them onto the actual frames themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's get cracking. Right, so I've done a little test piece, a little power drill freehand. I did buy one of these little drill stands to think that it was going to help me out, but it's so lame, I'm not even going to give it a go. Plus it doesn't have the stroke big enough. I also have this mortiser, which I thought I could adapt to make work. I do use that with an extra long drill bit to drill out my floating shelves, my holes to the floating shelves. I thought I can get that to work, but again, I don't have a long enough drill bit to go past this piece and then drill at 72mm into my work. So I've got so much to do at the moment, I really just need to get it done. So unfortunately, I'm going to do them freehand. I have tested them. 4 pieces of birch together, and I found that I can get a nice crisp hole, and I think it's going to be relatively square. If you do this yourself, remember you can get yourself a pillar drill. I don't have time to get myself a pillar drill with a big enough stroke. But for what it's meant to do, to hold a dowel in there, to hold your work in, I don't think it's critical that it's 100% square, even though we would like it to be. So what I've got here is I've got my 8 frames. These 2 frames got a skinny one and a fat one. This is the front, where my fence is going to be clamped to this part of the frame, right? Table saw is going to be in there. So that's the back part of the frame, that's the front. Then we've got the middle section, front, middle, back frame, or either side of the workbench. And again, the same on here. You can see my right hand side, they're all 72. That's the end of my bench. So it's 72 by 72. The 2 joints where I've got to join the 2 frames together, they're 36 and 36 to make, you guessed it, 72, same as that. And the same here. So this obviously gets turned round the other way now. It's 90 degrees to this frame. So that will work with this carcass once it's built. But anyway, now I've got them all in place, you can actually see the scale of this thing. I mean, apart from the gaps in between, you know it's going to be massive. 3.6 long, 1.6 wide. And yeah, it's just a matter of just getting them on the bench now and drilling them out. So I'm going to pick up the first one. Dog holes only on the outside frames, remember. The inner frame is just to support the carcass as it's so deep. It's a 1.6 meter deep bench. And yeah, we're going to pick up this front one here and then get a bit of masking tape on the sides, either side, mark out our holes and just give the old power drill a go. I've got one on the bench now, all marked out. That is the top, this is the bottom, masking tape all the way along. And I've just come down my measurements. Can you see the pencil lines, crosshair? 1, 2, 3, 4. And on this side, it's only 2. Because we're going to be alternating. On the other side, when we've got the other 36mm, it's going to be center of the 2 existing ones here. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 to match the other side. So all good to go now. Got the drill set up, 18mm flat bit in my Festool drill. And we're going to go for it now. Just I've got my stopper here, so I just got to drill. As soon as it hits the masking tape, we're going to stop. So let's give it a go. Just hope I don't beep it up. I only get one chance. It didn't go too bad. I just hope it's level. Did as best as I could with the tools that I have today. Should have planned it a little bit better, but so all I need to do is finish off the other 3 here and the other 2 and do that to 6 frames. Better get cracking. One side done. Went relatively easy. Just make sure you get yourself a nice sharp bit. Mine's getting a bit blunt now, so I may need to change it. Do have a few to do, but it's promising. I would have liked to have had a pillar drill, but you've got to make do with what you got at the time. So I'm going to crack on and do the rest now. I'm on the grooves now, which is this channel, and these channels need to be housed at the top of the frame. This is the top. So obviously we need to make sure that they're flush. So they need to be sunk in and they're going to be center. So what I have, I've got a 3/4 inch cutter set in my trimmer. I don't have a 1/2 inch version for my bigger routers, but this will have to do. So what I'm going to do is do it in single passes. As you can see, I've done a little test run, tested it. There's a few mistakes here and there, but I've just made sure that it's the right width. And it is, because I've just put this in and it sort of stays within the groove. So as long as I take my time and don't rush, I should give myself a nice clean job. I think that's going to be about 5 passes per groove. Just got to make sure that I stick to my fence and don't go off the fence, otherwise I'm going to get wavy lines. Right, I'm committed now. I'm going to go for it. Obviously get one chance. I have got a little sacrificial piece which I've screwed on. So when I run it through, it doesn't split out. Let's go for it. There you go, one pass. Bit terrifying really, because if you make one mistake, that's it, it's game over. There we go. Happy with that. Beautiful. So let's go and change the settings. Another 3 mil. Pass number 3. So these little channels are brilliant. You can use them for all sorts. Make your own fences for your router tables and table saws. So that's the idea. So that's going to go in, and then I'll be able to clamp my work to the side of the bench, which is going to be lovely jubbly. Little Makita clamp. £8 each. I think Festal do the same, they're £25 each. As the Americans say, go figure. Right. Deux more. Deux plus. I think that's how you say it in French. Just wanted it very, very fractionally below. Just because when you're clamping something, you've got a good old pull on the clamp. If there's any deflection in the bar below, you don't want it to be sticking out. Really happy with that. She's lovely. Isn't she lovely? It starts to become more of a bench now with the holes and the channels. Before, look, they look a little bit plain, look a bit boring. Now with these on, they're going to add purpose to the bench. Definitely worth doing. Worth the expense of buying all these. I think all these were about 15 quid a strip possibly. So I might have spent 100 and something quid on all the strips to go around the whole entire bench. But there you go, guys. I'm not going to repeat the whole process on every single one. I'm just simply going to say I'm going to be here for the rest of the weekend. It's going to be a good few hours work, maybe 5, 6 hours worth of work to get this done nicely and not rush it, get them sanded up, ready for oiling. Also, still trying to make my mind up on the colour. Not too sure on what colour to do this, this birch, whether it's a whitewashed Osmo, clear, a grey. Not too sure. I want to keep it light, and I want it to match the workshop sort of light colours. So any ideas on how to finish this birch without lacquering, without 2-pack lacquers, HVLP? It's either got to be oiled or sprayed on mortar based. Any ideas? Give me a shout, guys, because I'll be on that next stage, guys. So apart from that, I'm gonna just crack on. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and see you in part 4. Take it easy, guys. Bye for now.